This week, the NASCAR Cup Series heads to the Martinsville Speedway for another short track for the 2024 campaign. In this video, I'm going to be giving you who I think is going to win, while looking at some other drivers that I think are going to overperform at this track, and looking at a parlay that I like. So with that out of the way, let's get into the race winners. So starting off with our first driver, just like last week, I'm picking the 22 of Joey Logano to win at Martinsville. Now I know you might be thinking, again, Joey Logano is having a rough season, but last week at Richmond, he had a great run, finishing second, and this week I expect the same thing for Joey Logano. Now if we look at Joey Logano's last 4 next-gen races at Martinsville, he has finished inside of the top 10 every single time. He's finished second twice in the spring races, and he's finished 5th and 6th in the October races. I think Joey Logano is a safe bet. Like I said, I know he's having that rough season, but I can't think that this is one of his better tracks. He has won at Martinsville in the past. That was with the old car. This is a new next-gen car. But still, these stats minus a win, these are some of the better stats for this track with this car. So I would look out for that 22 on Sunday. The next driver that I'm picking to possibly win at Martinsville is a driver that's going to be sporting a nice paint scheme for an anniversary, and that is Kyle Larson. Now, the Hendrick cars are running an anniversary scheme for Rick Hendrick, and they're all going to have a hot rod red paint scheme. I think that this is an awesome opportunity for them to win to honor Rick Hendrick, and the driver that I think is going to win is probably going to be Kyle Larson. I do have another Hendrick driver later in the video, but right now let's talk about Larson. He's the most recent winner with the next-gen car at the spring race at Martinsville. In 2023, he finished first, and it also has a 6th place finish in October of that year, and then in October of the previous year, he finished second. The 2022 race was a little bit of a struggle, but that was the first race with the next-gen car. Ever since then, he's kind of figured out how to get around Martinsville, and I expect him to do the same thing and possibly go back-to-back and get that 5 car in victory lane. I'll just jump to the next Hendrick driver that I really like, and that's the number 9 of Chase Elliott. Now again, Chase Elliott is on a little bit of a streak of not winning, but I think this could possibly end at Martinsville. If we look at his last 4 next-gen races at Martinsville, you see that he has a 10th place finish in 3 races there, which is pretty impressive, not going to lie. He's finished in the same position 3 times in a row at the same track. But the thing about it is, in 2022, he had a great car, and he led a lot of laps early until ultimately falling out late, and William Byron went on to win that race, another Hendrick car. And every race since then, he has been in contention to win. October of last year, he was in contention to win, but he got passed late, and I believe he had to pit, so he wasn't able to make it. But he's had himself in contentions for most of these races, and I expect him to break that winless streak. And this could be the track that he can do it. Won at there before in 2020. Again, that's with the old car, so it doesn't count towards the next-gen stats. But I think Chase Elliott has the opportunity to win. And just like Larson, it would be cool to see him honor Rick Hendrick. The next driver that I'm picking is a teammate of the first driver that I picked, and the driver is Ryan Blaney. He's the most recent winner at Martinsville in the next-gen car. Last year in October, he won the race to get into the championship 4, and he ends up winning the championship. And Martinsville seems to be one of his best tracks with the old car and even the new car. In the 4 races with the next-gen car at Martinsville, Blaney has a 4th, a 3rd, a 7th, and a 1st. He hasn't finished outside the top 10 yet, and I expect him to be dominant on Sunday. This is one of his better tracks. He always runs well here, and I think that he has a chance to maybe lead a lot of laps if he qualifies up front, just like he did in last October's race. I think really this is going to be a Penske or Hendrick race, but for my final driver, I am going to throw somebody in there that's neither of them because I like to keep it realistic, and this driver is somebody who's on a tear. So the final driver that I am picking is not a Penske driver, and it's not a Hendrick driver. It is the number 11 Denny Hamlin. Now I know most people are probably going to roll over and probably click off this video once I say that because they hate him, but let's face facts, guys. 3-0 on short tracks for the 2024 season if we include the Clash. He won at Richmond. He won at Bristol. Why not win at Martinsville? It's been one of his favorite tracks to race at. He did well in the old car, and now looking at the next-gen car in the 4 races, we'll scratch out that first race because, again, that was kind of a learning curve for everybody. But every race since, he's had a progressively better finish. 5th, 4th, 3rd. So many people think, okay, maybe now he'll finish second, but I think he has the possibility to win. And I think it would be funny if he went back-to-back and won again, especially when everybody is giving him the controversy for last week. If he just straight up dominated this race and just won and was like, see people, I can do it even without that stuff. So I would definitely watch out for Denny Hamlin. He's one to watch. Last year's race in October, he was very strong early, and in 2022 in the playoff race, he led a lot of laps, he won some stages, but he ultimately just fell short. So that Martinsville clock is due for Denny Hamlin with a next-gen car, and maybe it happens this week. Alright, so now let's move into the portion where I talk about 3 drivers that I think are going to exceed expectations for this race versus the entire season up to this point. And the 3 drivers that I'm going to highlight are Harrison Burton, Chase Briscoe, and Noah Gragson. So let's talk about each of them quickly because I don't want to make this a long video. Now, Harrison Burton, I know what you might be thinking. You're like, oh man, you're sick. Yes, I am sick if you can't tell, but I'm not sick in the way that I'm picking Harrison Burton. Let me tell you something. Harrison Burton, with the next-gen car at this track, has 2 top 15s. In October, both races. In the April races, he does struggle, but still, I expect Harrison Burton to do a little bit better than what he has been the entire year. Better than 30th place finishes and high 20th place finishes. I think he can get up inside the top 15. Maybe if he can't get to 12th or 11th like he did in 2022, I could see him getting an 18th place finish, and that is exceeding expectation for a team and a driver who are doing terrible this year, one of the worst. All right, so the next one we're going to look at is Chase Briscoe. Now with Chase Briscoe, if we look at his stats, he's very underrated at Martinsville. He has a 2 9ths, a 5th, and a 4th. I expect Chase Briscoe to get a top 10, no less than at least 13th place. Chase Briscoe will definitely be one to watch. Who knows, maybe he even wins if some late strategy comes out and he gambles on tires. Now the final driver is Noah Gragson. Now I don't have stats for Noah Gragson with the next gen car at Martinsville because he hasn't run there a lot, but Noah Gragson has won an Xfinity race at Martinsville, and the 10 car last year was very good at Martinsville in both races. Eric Almirola led a lot of laps late, but ended up falling short and finishing second. So the 10 car setup is there, and the driver has won there before. So I think that Noah Gragson can replicate a little bit of that, and I expect a top 10, no further back than maybe, again, 13th like Chase Briscoe. So I expect Gragson and Briscoe, the Stewart-Haas teammates, to be up there and having contentions for top 15s, and then Harrison Burton, a top 20 would be perfect. That would exceed expectations. Now let's move into the portion of my video where I talk about the parlays that I'm going to do. And once again, we're going to be using DraftKings. And that's only because that this week I want to do another bet like I did last week where I pick top manufacturers from 2 manufacturers. And then we look at the drivers that I think are going to be the top of that respective manufacturer. So for this week, I'm picking top Chevy and top Toyota. And I'm picking Chase Elliott to be the top Chevy and Denny Hamlin to be the top Toyota. If you parlay these, you can possibly win $100 off a $10 bet. I think that's pretty good odds, especially because Denny Hamlin is on a tear with the short tracks. And I really do believe that Chase Elliott is due for a good run. And I think this is the track he can get it done. Now let's look at the bigger parlay that I like. And this can win $150 if you bet $10. And that is Noah Gragson over Chase Briscoe, Denny Hamlin over Martin Truex Jr., Alex Bowman over Ross Chastain, Ryan Blaney over William Byron, and Joey Logano over Kyle Busch. So those are the bets that I like. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. So there you guys have it. Let me know what you guys think. If you agree or disagree with my opinions, I'd love to hear your opinions down in the comments because I do love to hear what you guys have to say, and I love to just talk racing and talk NASCAR, and I really do appreciate all the feedback. Again, this week was a little sick in my voice if you couldn't hear it, so I appreciate you guys maybe battling through this video with me. I know it was a little tough to hear what I was saying at times, but next week I should be better and a lot better content coming out, so I appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.